This is David Moss with BIC Trikes. Today we're going to show how to pull our rear end off a 2010 Honda Fury. We're going to show you the brackets and where they go, and then what bolts and nuts that you need and that you'll use. This one right here is actually my 2010 Honda Fury. A customer called from Arkansas. He didn't want one of our normal $1,200 shipping kit. He wanted the complete thing done. I said, since I have a Fury, I can do it. I have to have a bike to build them off of. He has to adjust his shocks to exactly where mine is, and he set up for this rear end to work. So we can do Honda Furies and ship out the complete thing. And they are going to have to be freighted. They are a little bit more expensive to ship than our shippable kits. But if you get one, this is how you'll take it off and put it on. And for anybody else that just wants to see how our stuff works, you can more than welcome to watch and see how we take it off and put it on and see how sturdy this stuff is. So we're going to take off now you'll notice the fender is gone, and the seat and such. We have to pull that off to put the brackets on. Once you get the brackets on and you can put everything right together, you don't ever have to pull that off again when you want to pull the rear end off. So I'm going to let you know, yeah, it does have to come off to install, but after that you can put the rear end on and off, and you do not have to have your fender taken off. You just do that if you're going to take your brackets out. So just to give you that. And the way this works, I showed another video, the front hookup becomes your rear peg. So your passenger puts their feet on this right here, and they'll be able to drive around, and you'll have to remove your rear pegs, of course. So we'll go ahead and get into it. The fender's the first thing we'll pull off, and it is simple. It's a 1/2 inch nut and bolt, and it's a vinyl nut, so it won't move on you, with 2 washers. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this off real quick, and we'll and you can see I used just a simple 1/2 inch socket and ratchet, 1/2 inch wrench, and then this is a 1/2 inch with 2 washers and a lock nut. So you just simply unbolt them. I'm going to unbolt the rest of them. We'll probably time lapse this so you don't have to be bored with it, and then we'll go from there. So we're going to pull them all off. Now we're going to undo it from the rear end and pull it back so we can get the tires off. You want it off the rear end when you put the tires on your first time, because in fact that way I don't have to jack anything up, and there's an easy way of doing it. And of course I'll be using some, believe it or not, long bricks that will raise this up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our 5/8 socket. We'll grab our ratchet, and we're going to unbolt this from the rear end. You'll see 5/8. You simply unbolt it. There's 2 bolts on this side and 2 bolts on the other side. Now, before you, if you're unbolting this thing, make sure you got something that's holding your bike level, because when you pull this out, there'll be nothing holding your bike. If you're just putting it together, you can have somebody holding it level or have something under it that holds it level so you can put this rear end on. You don't want it leaning on its kickstand when you do this. Once you got it unbolted, and you just simply move it back. You can let it just rest like that. Now, I'm going to take the rims and tires off. I'm going to show you a cheap way to do this. It's simple. I actually buy these for less than a couple dollars a piece, but you got these lawn bricks, 2 of them. Put me definitely high enough that the tires will be off the ground. So I put 2 on this side, 2 on the other side, and 2 in the back. And of course, if you don't have a lift, you can do this on the ground. Pretty simple. You see, this up. Tires are now off the ground. Now I'm going to cheat, but I use an impact. If you don't have an impact, then you're going to want to break them loose before you put it off the ground. See, tire came off. Pretty simple. Try not to shake things too much. Do the same thing on the other side. Pretty simple. Pull that off. Get it out of the way. Now, once again, I'm going to cheat a little. So I'm going to use air ratchet. It's got 13 millimeter. That's what these are on here. So I'm just going to go ahead and hook this up to the air and pull these off pretty quick. There's 6 bolts. And also to let you know, when you first get this, there might be debris in those holes. So what I do is I just simply take a reamer and go through it and make sure that there's no debris in these holes before when it comes to the axle. Because I've had BBs and rubber stuck in those little holes. So I usually take a reamer and just go down and make sure there's nothing in there. like I said, facing this way. We'll roll it down. Out of the way, look your head up. Sorry about the compressor, it's on. Once you get the axles off, then you just simply remove the rear end from being in the way now. If you're on the ground, you could have rolled this out and did it at another place, no big deal. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this out of the way. Now you'll notice that it's just the brackets. We have a bracket on the rear end right here, and it hooks up. And then we have the bracket to where your rear peg used to be. So what you're going to want to do here, we'll start on this rear end. It's easy. You're going to get a 5mm Allen wrench. And you're going to undo, when you put it on, you undo your two original. But on this one, I replaced one of them with a hex head. So we're going to start off by pulling this off. This is the original one, the back one. You don't have to replace it because the metal's not thick enough, it's long enough to actually get in there and get some threads. But as you can see, and that's a 6mm. So that should go on your bike. You'll keep the one that goes in the back, but the front one, I'm gonna take the other one off too. The front one you'll have to replace yours. You'll take yours off and you'll replace it with one of mine. So the way I do this, because this whole thing's bolted on there and I don't want to have to mess with holding it. So if you do it by yourself, I do one side. Then we loosen up this and see it drops. And then once we get this loosened up enough that we can get it out of the way but not take it completely off, you can see, I move it to the back end. And what that does, it allows this to be held up still. So then I'll go back to my Allen wrench and I'll put the original one back in there. This is, you can do it in reverse. As far as that goes, this will keep you from having to mess with trying to hold that rear end. To take both those bolts out, it wants to drop. So this will keep you from having to worry about that drop. And of course, put the bolt in and you tighten it up. Now, go ahead and finish off this. And it's a 10mm hex head, the one that we replaced. Pretty easy to put on and take off. So this is what the bracket looks like. And you'll see this is thinner metal. So this is the one that you just simply the back end. This is the one that you use your original Allen wrench bolt in there, Allen head, and then you're going to replace this one with the one I send you, which is a 6mm hex head. You cannot put a washer because the mere fact that it'll get too thick and you won't be able to put the fender on without it causing issues. So this is the bolt that goes with this, and that's how hard that was to take off. And I'll go ahead, since I'm dismounting this, I'm gonna go ahead and put my original bolt back in. Like I said, you're just doing this reverse, so you would actually, put the bolts in and lock it down, and she's good. Now, another thing is when you're putting this on back here, on the back end, you don't tighten it down all the way. You get a little snug with it, has a little play. They can move like a 1/16 of an inch, put the rear end on, bolt it to the front too, and then you can have that slight movement so you can make it easier on yourself, because if it's off that 1/16, you're gonna be fighting with it. So then you'll bolt the rear one on, and then you'll tighten these bolts up for the bracket, and then you're done. But I would leave it a little loose so you can move it that little 1/16 of an inch that can move, because they're actually slotted hose, and then that way I'll line it up just fine. Once you bolt it down, it's good. So we got this side done. We're gonna do the same thing to the other side, and then we'll be talking about what else you need to do. Now I have them completely off. I've got my original stock bolts back in there. Like I said, make sure you do the one close to the tail light first. Move it out of the way. When you're putting it on, it's the opposite. You take the front one towards the bike off. You'll put it on, and you'll use a new nut, and you'll just not put it even near tight. You just make it to where it's hooked in there, and it's coming through, and then you move that out of your way so you can remove this, slide it up, put in this, bolt this one, and that one. Like I said, leave it a little loose so you have a little movement. Then you can go ahead, and once you bolt the front end up, line it up and bolt it in and tighten those down. Now, we're going to be taking off the foot pegs. Now, remember, you got to take your foot pegs off first, then you put these on. And they use 12 millimeter, and what I recommend is getting one of these right here, because you can't get sockets in there with a darn. So this right here, this ratchet wrench, is a great thing to have for this. So all you got to do is simply get behind it like this, and this here, you're going to use your stock bolts, because it's the same thickness as your it's the same thickness as your rear pegs, 1/4 inch thick metal. So you're going to just simply use your stock. Don't need to change it out or anything. Like I said, these are hard to get to, so usually I just have to completely unbolt it before. Said it is a pain. Now, can't put these in wrong. This one here is the left foot peg, and you'll see that it is going to be completely different. It's more of an angle. It's more down than the other one. So that you can't put these on wrong. Honestly, can't put the wrong one on. And you'll put it in there, and you're screwing this into the bracket. So that's done. Then we're going to do the other side and show you what it looks like. Alright, so now you can see this is the right hand side. As you can see, she's not even near as angled as the other one is, and you just bolt right there, nut right there, so you can bolt into. So that's all the brackets. That's pretty much it. Now all you do is you just simply put your rear pegs back on, put your fender back on, and go ahead and put your seat on, and you're done. So it's really that simple. Only took me a couple minutes. Once you get the brackets on, I want to reiterate, don't ever have to take those off again. They don't get in the way of anything. If you want to pull the rear end off and ride it, you can. If you want to pull the rear end off, change the tire, you can ride it to your to the shop to have the tire changed, and you don't have to worry about them charging you to pull that rear end off. Literally 4 bolts. It's simple. Pull it out. I would do it that way. And if you want to go riding 2 wheels, you should be able to do that within less than 5 to 7 minutes. You see me unbolt them. When you put it back on, you simply roll it into it, lift it up, line the hose up, boom. You don't have to worry about the bracket once it's been completely bolted down, because the brackets are going to be exactly where they need to be at. So this is David Moss of BIC Trikes. If you have any questions, comments, if you like this, hit the like. We may do more videos like this. Give us a comment. Tell me what you think. Was it boring? Was it interesting? Did it do what it needed to do? Do you understand? And am I just talking too much? Yeah, so hit the like, subscribe so you get our newest stuff. We really do appreciate it. We're up to right now I think 720 something subscribers, which is pretty awesome for just building bolt-on track rear ends and showing off bikes with our rear ends on it. Once again, it's David Moss with BIC Trikes. It's a 2010 Honda Fury. We took the rear end off. You do the exact opposite when you're putting it on, just in reverse. So we appreciate you watching this. BIC Trikes stands for Brothers in Christ, where Jesus Christ gets all the glory. Thank you so much, and God bless.